I think that we are live from now.
Oh, we're live. Okay, we are live. Okay, sorry. It popped up. We didn't see that. Okay, good morning. Buenos dias, bon dia. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is the latest in our Belvira LinkedIn Live series, which we are, frankly, experimenting with a little bit to see what kind of traction and utility we can gain for our clients and everybody engages with this. I'm joined here today by Antonia Aguilo. For those who don't know me, I'm Roman Townsend. I'm the Managing Director and Founder of Belvira Partners. Something we hear regularly, or see regularly from our clients, and Antonia and I we both worked together for a very long time at Hotel Beds, would regularly see is people who are not experienced at giving interviews, ahead of that want preparation, they want support, because understandably they're nervous about how the interview might go. And Antonia has a lot of experience in working with our clients and helping to prepare them. So I'm going to be interviewing her about that today. Kind of ironic, isn't it, Antonia? I give you an interview. And we're going to talk about how you best go about prepping yourself. If you've got questions, please put them in the chat or email us. But we really thought this is a great topic to go with today because, as we say, this is something we see coming up time and time again, and we've got a bit of a playbook for helping people how to prepare. So, Antonia, tell us, why is preparing, why is preparation so much more important than spontaneity when it comes to doing interviews?
Hi everyone, I'm Antonia Aguilo, strategic PR consultant. I've been working in the industry for over 18 years and most recently in Belvira Partners as account director. Why is important the preparation? Because mostly preparation gives you control. In media interviews, journalists control the questions, but you as a spokesperson control the answers. This is very important to know that. And also that without preparation, normally you react, but with preparation, you respond more strategically. It's important also to remain calm and confident. No one knows your company better than you. That's very important to know. And also it's important to remember that with preparation, you respond and you answer clearly and very avoiding improvisation. Avoiding improvisation is very important to keep clear.
So preparation, and we can get a little bit more into that in just a minute. But so you've got to prep. But what is it you prep? How do you define what the key messages are going to be? Who do you need to work with? Other than working with Belvira, obviously, who do you need to work with to do that? And how do you go about helping our clients define their key messages so that they stay on mission?
To define the key messaging, always is important to get an agreement of like a clear one-liner, what your company is and what are your company doing. So in short sentences. For that, it's important that the company gets an agreement of those messages or key messaging. Also, it's important to know the key figures about your company. What are your key markets? Where are you operating? The number of clients? Who is your audience? How many partners do you work with? How many employees have your company? Where are your offices based? So it's very important to know everything, and also those technology developments, their industry news that you have recently launched, to have everything clear, everything known, and you have all the information. Having all the information is very, very important. And it's important also to know how to explain it clearly in one sentence, one short sentence. If you cannot explain it very quick and very briefly, it doesn't work for an interview.
That's it, and maybe not something to go into so much here, but that's often one of the challenges, isn't it? You and I face with clients. We did a training session recently with clients to prepare them for this type of thing, and inevitably, most of the conversation ended up going back to, but how many employees do we have, or are we leading, or are we the biggest? All this kind of thing. So it's quite important to we find it quite important, don't we, to push back with our clients and really make them confirm that, because the spokesperson, might not be the person who decides that. It has to be their comms team or their senior management, isn't it, who buys into this.
So it's a document, like a document that you have all the information from your company very clearly, and to have the messages very, very clear is really important. And no, not that many companies they have that clarity and that document, and we can help of course with that for our clients, obviously.
Yes, I think it's a big part of what we do, isn't it? So the next question is, okay, so there you are, you've been prepared for your interview, you've got the things you want to talk about, you've got the messages, but what about the things you don't want to say? How do you go about setting those boundaries and saying, I'm here today to talk about this product or service, I'm not here to talk about some M&A rumors or where the stock price is at. How do you keep that on track?
It's very important to know, first of all, as a company, what are your red lines? What are the topics that you cannot talk about, or the company is not comfortable to talk about? Here are some examples. For instance, the M&A activities, financial results, or specific customers agreements that you cannot talk about them, or even political or geopolitical matters that better avoid them. In order to prepare them for that, you cannot say like no comments. It's something that is not used. Is better avoid that with journalists. It's much better to redirect with that to a safe territory, to what you can say, to what the red lines that you are not allowed to comment or to say.
I mean, I think it's okay, isn't it? And to say, I'm here today to talk about the launch of, a new product. For, if you want to talk about the stock price or M&A activity, you need to speak with, the comms team, or, or the company's already made, all the announcements it wants to about that. We have nothing more to add. But people shouldn't feel shy, should they, about setting those boundaries? The other thing is, oh, sorry, carry on.
No, there's no problem to redirect the question to a safe place and to use like the language to redirect the questions but avoiding the no comment thing.
No comment never looks good, does it? Sometimes, the journalists will give you a briefing in advance about what they want to talk about. They might even pass you the questions, but sometimes they don't. How do you, anticipate, what it is they want to talk about, and in particular, how do you anticipate what those difficult questions might be?
Okay, it's important to have like a scenario planning, even if you don't have the questions from the journalist, because not always we like to ask questions beforehand, but not always you have those questions. So it's it's very important to prepare, what the Q&As, the questions that can be asked, and try to prepare them beforehand.
Sorry, I just got interrupted by a 3-year-old. So I think it's all about boundary setting, isn't it? And then in terms of knowing your own boundaries as well, and then how do people stay clear and concise and express themselves eloquently? Most people that's not how they talk in the day to day. What can we do to make ourselves a little bit more punchy in terms of our communications?
I think that with preparation, it's very important. Also, try to stay calm, breathe, pause and before answering. It's important also to slow down slightly, because normally when you are nervous, you overtalk and you speak also very, very, very quick. So it's important to breathe, to pause, and answer very short, with short sentences, because a part that you can over-explain, it's important to keep the messaging and don't talk more than what you want to say strictly.
I like the breathing one. That's I think that's a very important one. And certainly,
it's a matter to control your nerves, and if you breathe and you control your breath, you can control the messaging. Keeping calm is very relevant, very important.
Team, I find very important in these situations where you feel nervous or whatever is food. You're going to laugh because everything for me is about food. But if I'm hungry, I find that doesn't help me. And if I've just eaten, then I find that can help me a lot. Certainly, a very important interview I did once in my life. I ate a donut before I went in, and I think that was why I got what I wanted out of it. I would stress as well the point you made there about being short. I think short answers are very important. If you're speaking for more than 20, 30 seconds, no one's paying attention to anything you're saying anymore. So whatever it is that you want to communicate, it's got to be in those first few words. Otherwise, people just aren't going to hear it. There's no, often we see people, don't we, saying, oh, but we need to talk about this and this and this and this. And there's no this and this. It's one thing, otherwise,
and to that,
you'll hear nothing.
It's very important as well to avoid very techie words and very specific words, and try to be very clear as well. How do you explain things? Very concise and clear. But not always all your audiences will be as experts as you in the topic. So it's important to be very clear in your messaging.
No, I agree, and prep and practicing can help that, but keeping it to sort of 30-second responses maximum, I'd say would be key for me. Skipping forwards a bit, we spoke here about the prep and the breathing and the things that you can do to sort of keep on track. But in terms of the relationship that you have with journalists, and by the way, these interviews might be live recordings, but equally there might just be. We're talking here, aren't we, about just private discussions that then the journalist takes and writes that up and puts into an article. What about how the kind of relationship you build with journalists? In the movies, it's all like combative, kind of like arguing with the journalists and pushing back and all the rest of it. But does that approach really work in the B2B world of TravelTech?
Yeah, about the relationship. Normally, the relationship with journalists normally are quite good. The thing with journalists, that there are certain topics, certain things that you need to be aware, that you need to avoid certain things. Interviews are not confrontations; they are professional exchange. So this is very important. Normally, you never ask to review content before publications. You can offer clarification and support, having an open conversation with them. If you don't have a figure or something, it's perfectly fine to tell the journalist, okay, I can come back to you afterwards with more details, a specific figure. So saying, I don't have this information at this moment, it's perfectly fine. And it's important that instead of saying anything that is wrong, better, I will update you after the interview, after the call, or after the recording. So a constructive relationship builds long-term credibility. And credibility is a strategic capital for a company.
Yeah, definitely not the kind of argumentative style, and I certainly agree with you about the asking for corrections or to read the article in advance, all that kind of stuff. I think people need to.
Thing, that I would like to highlight is that everything is on the record. That try to not say anything that you don't want to be the headline. Also, don't talk about your competitors, because that could be the headline instead of yours, could be the competitor. So it's important to also to know that for journalists, normally everything is on the record. So if you don't want anything to be published, better don't say that.
That's a very good point. Yeah, and certainly, not talking about your competitors and or mentioning stuff that's a bit irrelevant, because that can then sometimes be the headline, can't it? I think we saw that recently with a client who simply mentioned in passing that one day they might launch a new area, and then that became the headline, even though they had no plans for doing that. Okay, then, and just conscious of time, because I know we will try and keep these sort of things short. So before we wrap up, any sort of last tips, thoughts, takeaways that you would give to an executive before going into an interview?
Yeah, I think that as a spokesperson, you need to control the message. You control the message, not the journalist. So the journalist is doing the questions, but you control the answers. The red lines protect the company, so it's very important to define them. And also clarity, relevance, being short and being concise, preparation and practice to build confidence, and also what I mentioned before, everything is on the record. So you need to be prepared for anything you say become like a headline. So better know perfectly well what do you want to say.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. I think there's some excellent insights there, and my sort of takeaway would be that yes, there are risks to doing interviews, as there are with all things in life, but overall the upside is very much there, and that people do need to embrace this and roll with this, and accept it's never going to be perfect. They're never going to put the headline you want. They're never going to talk about all the things you want, but it's much better than the alternative, which is not just you're not out there, it's that your competitor is taking the free publicity, and every interview you don't give is one that you're essentially handing over to your competitors to control the narrative about them and the industry. Antonia, thank you very much. Another successful LinkedIn Live. Let's think what the next one's going to be soon.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Take care, everybody, for dialing in. Thanks for dialing in. Thanks for your attention. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.